Evans. And just as a time check, we have 35 minutes left on the debate of this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. All right, this bill on page 3, line 10, talks about migrant. Migrant means an individual who has arrived in the United States within the past year, and does not qualify for federal support services or refugee resettlement assistance benefits. So we're tying the state definition of migrant to federal criteria. Qualified immigrants under federal law means lawful permanent residents, refugees, asylees, folks of that nature, Cuban or Haitian entrants. There is a corresponding citation in federal code for that. Battered spouses, and there's a couple of subsections underneath that. Victims of trafficking or their derivatives, and then individuals who lawfully reside in the U.S. Pursuant to a compact of free association. So there's 6 categories of qualified immigrants, folks who have some sort of lawful association with the United States government. And anyone that does not fall under that category is a not qualified immigrant. Not qualified immigrant includes all non-citizens who do not fall under the qualified immigrant categories. That is who is being contemplated with this bill by the definition of migrant, specifically stating that they do not qualify for federal support services. We are talking about non-citizens who are here without lawful authority. These are illegal immigrants. That is what the bill...
Representative, we're talking about migrants. I've been very clear about what the rules of this and what is germane to this topic is. So please use the words that are from the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just want to set the record here. So I'm going to read a little bit of an excerpt from an article published earlier this month here in the Denver metro area from a it's Colorado Politics, pretty mainstream media source here. Denverites are becoming second-class citizens in their own city. To varying degrees, that could be said of Coloradans and other communities as well. They have been elbowed aside by a new wave of immigrants, many of them from Venezuela, who have entered the U.S. illegally over the past year and have been deluging Denver and the rest of the state. The toll on taxpayers is growing daily. Again, folks, we are talking about illegal immigrants, as stated in this news article.
Representative Evans.
We've
talked about this. I will allow you to say that these are migrants who are here illegally, but I will not allow you to say that is not in the bill. Okay? What is germane to the bill is migrants.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for clarification, I'm reading from a major press article here in the Denver metro area. Is the press not welcome in the well?
The press is welcome in the well.
Can I quote from a major mainstream press association as I read this?
Yes, you are welcome to quote from a major mainstream source.
Perfect, because I'm quoting from Colorado Politics here. Thank you for that clarification, Mr. Chair. Since December of 2022, about 40,000 immigrants have arrived in Denver. Welcoming them has cost the city over $60 million and counting. The state and federal government have reimbursed Denver alone about $14 million. It's actually in the high 30s if you count the reimbursements to the rest of the state. But the rest of the cost is coming out of the pockets of Denver taxpayers. And as mentioned, that's not even counting the tab handed out to taxpayers in other Colorado cities. The bill for covering food, shelter, and other services to the droves of immigrants hasn't been paid out of some rainy day fund in the city hall's coffers. It has come directly out of the city's operating budget, resulting in slashed public services to locals, parks and rec centers that reduced their hours, DMV branches that went to weekly closures, basic functions that city taxpayers depend on. And that's not to mention the collateral damage caused by the immigration surge, from proliferating tent camps to rising crime. It goes on to talk about, this is the price of living in a sanctuary for, quoting the bill, illegal immigration. Quoting the article. State lawmakers in 2019 enacted a law prohibiting local governments from cooperating with the federal government in immigration enforcement and prohibiting the sharing of judicial information with federal officials. Last year, the legislature passed a law barring local government involvement in immigration detention. Denver, meanwhile, is widely known for offering shelter, food, and transportation of illegal immigrants to their final destination. Now, at least, there are signs our sanctuary status is prompting second thoughts. As reported by our affiliate, the Washington Examiner, Denver officials are starting to tell the immigrants to move on, given the city's immigration-induced multi-million-dollar deficit. And then it goes on to talk about, you probably all saw the 9 News story, where officials here in Denver told these folks that they need to move on. Folks, this is what is happening in our communities. How do Coloradans and Americans see this? I will quote another mainstream media outlet. This is the title. A majority of Americans see an invasion at the southern border, NPR poll finds. I'll give you another article from 5 days ago. Majority of voters polled believe the U.S. is being invaded at southern border. The majority of American voters polled believe that the U.S. is being invaded at the southern border. Folks, this ties directly to the bill here because as we've just established with the definition on page 3, these are folks who are illegally present in the country, and this piece of legislation creates a multi-million-dollar grant program to continue to attract them to Colorado. I go on. In that same article, talking about the invasion at our southern border, which is what a majority of Americans agree is occurring. More recently, retired FBI counterintelligence leaders warned about a likely terrorist attack being committed by criminals illegally entering the country through a soft invasion. As my colleague earlier stated, in this legislation, there is no vetting process to determine to whom these funds are going. I am quoting from mainstream media outlets here who are relaying information provided by counterintelligence leaders who are warning about potential terrorist attacks being committed by criminals illegally entering the country through a soft invasion, and pieces of legislation like House Bill 1280 create a multi-million-dollar grant program that has no vetting that will continue to attract individuals to Colorado, further exacerbating the self-imposed illegal immigration crisis that is now facing the Front Range and the state of Colorado. I rise in opposition to this bill.